Hey everyone, this is Norm Farrar, aka the Beard Guy here, and welcome to another Lunch with Norm, the Amazon FBA and e-commerce podcast. Okay, so in this episode, we're going to be talking about back to the basics with social media paid ads. I know a lot of Amazon listeners still don't use any form of external traffic or paid ads. Stay tuned. This is going to give you the basics and start using it. We need external traffic to grow some sales. We're also going to be talking about best practices for paid ads, which paid social ad platforms help e-commerce and why we should focus on them and how to find the right audience. Welcome to the Lunch with Norm podcast, the Amazon FBA and e-com podcast.
Lunch with Norm, lunch with Norm, lunch with Norm.
I just realized I said podcast too many times. But anyways, on today's show, like I mentioned, we're talking about social media paid ads and what you need to know. Our guest is the founder of Brighter Click, an education-first agency that focuses not only on performance, but on proactive communication led by education. He helps e-commerce companies 2 times, 3 times their current Facebook marketing performance. And first-time guest, Colby Flood. But we'll get to Colby in a second. Kelsey, hit that button for our sponsor. If you're selling on Amazon in 2022, you know how important it is to stand out from your competition. Let Hono Worldwide lend a helping hand with your product innovation to outcompete your competition online. That's right. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the success of your newly innovative product while Hono handles all the work. Visit honoworldwide.com for more information. That's Honu, H-O-N-U, worldwide.com, or email savings@honoworldwide.com. Okay, where is the boy Blunder?
Hey, we're back with another episode. How are you doing?
It's another pre-recorded episode.
That's right.
Episode.
So we are on vacation right now. I think Norm is probably traveling in Alaska.
Hold it. I'm on vacation and you're probably away playing around. You're probably out at the beach eating bonbons or something.
Yeah, you know what? It happens. But we're hope you guys enjoyed this recorded episode. We still are taking questions, of course. So if you do have any comments, questions, opinions on today's topic, let us know in the comment sections and we'll do our best to get back to you. We'll be posting it in the Facebook group as well. And we're looking to continue the conversation after this episode airs. And if you're new to the podcast, we start off by smashing those like buttons, giving us a thumbs up. And if you're no idea who we are, what we do, you can join our Lunch with Norm Facebook group. That's the Lunch with Norm Amazon FBA and e-commerce collective. That's where you can be part of the community. If you see any comments, questions, you can probably guarantee that those guys are or girls are over in the Facebook group hanging out with us, with the other beardos. Anyways, I think that's it. We can jump into today's episode and hope you guys enjoy.
Hashtag beardos are people too.
There you go. There you go.
That's what I think, Kelsey. Okay, so like you said, throw your comments or questions over into the comment area. We will get to them. And hopefully we'll have our guest join our community. And if there's something that comes in for him, he can provide answers. Let me see. What else do we have to talk about? I think that's it. Kelsey, you did a pretty good job. Now get out of here and sit back, relax, grab a cup of coffee, and enjoy this episode. Welcome.
Hey, sorry to delay there. I was actually on Facebook joining the group there. Glad to have you.
Very good. All right, Colby. So this is really cool. I don't usually ask this, but you live very close to where my parents live. The other day, you guys had a crazy storm, right?
Yes, we did. Yeah, Raleigh, North Carolina, we did. It came out of nowhere. We've had great weather the past week or two, and then we had some flash flood warnings and things like that.
Yeah, that's what I'm just wondering whether my parents were lying to me or not.
No,
But
they were
yeah,
telling you the
so,
truth. Yeah, they were
so you
telling you the
okay,
truth.
very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, they said it absolutely came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So, look, this is going to come out of nowhere because, and I don't know the reason why. And we were talking about this a little bit before, but Amazon sellers primarily use Amazon PPC sponsored ads, sponsored brands, and they do, usually a pretty good job with that. And then maybe DSP advertising. But as for going out there and looking for social media platforms or which social media platform or paid ads, maybe many new Amazon sellers kind of push that aside. And I think we've got to bring across the message that they are leaving money on the table. Not everybody knows about your product on Amazon. And people like you can get those people who have no idea, that audience, over to your listing. So why don't we just talk about that first? Let's open up new listeners' eyes to paid social media and just see what kind of dollars you could be talking about.
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, paid social or paid search is a great opportunity for e-commerce businesses. You need to be focusing on how you can find new customers. There's three main levers for growing marketing for e-commerce. Find new customers, have them pay more per purchase, and have them increase their frequency of purchase as well. So things like Facebook, Pinterest, Google are great opportunities to find people that aren't in the process of looking for your product or looking for you on Amazon, and driving them to Amazon to really have that purchase opportunity there. So yeah, I think if we're looking at platforms for people to get started with, I mean, Facebook and Google are definitely two of the key big players. We've had a lot of things happen with Facebook, and I'm sure we'll talk about that in a little bit here, but Facebook and Google are great ones to start. And if you're a beauty brand, a healthcare brand, things like that, Pinterest is also a great opportunity paid wise.
So with Facebook or Google, let's talk about, or any other platform, let's talk about some of the best practices, and again, just step by step, let's make this easy.
Yeah, good question. So let's act like you are just getting started with Facebook ads. What would we want to do, right? So the first thing you're going to want to do is make sure that you can be profitable running ads there. And hopefully, if you've been doing ads on Amazon, you already have that sorted out, but making sure that the place you're driving traffic to can convert people properly, making sure you have a good cost of goods so your margins are correct. If you're confident that you can drive people to Shopify or to Amazon to be profitable, the next thing you're really going to want to do is make sure you map out a creative strategy. And normally, Norm, a year ago, I would not have said this was the next step, but we're seeing this, and you hear about it in a lot of agency communities. Creative has become one of the biggest, if not the biggest, bottleneck for clients and for agencies out there with running effective ad campaigns. So you're going to want to make sure you have a strategy for getting new photography and videography for your product, having a graphic designer who can create ads for you so that you can keep, let's just say, 15 to 20 new ads going out every month. Really, that depends on your spend. Next thing you're going to want to do is really just map out who you're trying to talk to and what you're trying to convey to them. I would definitely look at your messaging and understand what your USP is and how you can differentiate yourself from other businesses. Now, we try to break things down into themes or strategies with messaging, with creative, with all things. Can you provide a good founder story? Can you provide benefits over features? Can you provide, are you made in the USA and you're selling in the USA or whatever country that you're selling in? What behind your USP can you really drive that way? And then start going into actually building out the ad account. And we could go into a little bit about kind of the testing strategies that we do behind Facebook as well. But those are the main things I would focus on before you get started, because they're going to be very important to be successful in the account.
So I'd like to go back to that creative for a second. When you're talking creative, you're not just talking about, here's one type of creative. You're talking about creating multiple styles, right? It could be some user generated content. It could be benefits. It could be a video compared to an image. And on that thought, video over stills, you know, the difference or the percentage of converting or the let's try this again. The engagement percentage difference.
That's a great question. So what I'll tell you is Facebook prefers video. Why? Because TikTok is video and they're trying to take over the TikTok space. To truly answer that question, I would have to say it really depends on how good is the video. Like what is the thumb stop ability of the first 3 seconds that way. But if you can produce a video that really does stop people's scroll that way, I would say go with video because Facebook prefers it. But you will see if your video is not meeting par with that, you're going to have higher cost, and images would be a better bet for you. But yeah, that's where I would go with it. And I do agree with what you're saying. You're definitely looking at themes and structures within your creative. So what kind of mindset can you have with that, right? You could look at taking PR content. We work with a sustainability business, and one of the top performing creatives they've had is 2-minute local news station interviews, unedited, put them on Facebook, run them with the news station headline, or the headline is the news station's name, and just generic copy, crushes it. It knocks it out of the park for them. So PR content, UGC.
Oh, by the way, I did not promote him to say that. I own a PR company.
Oh,
so
okay.
I did not tell Colby. He was on his own. I wasn't prompting him.
It was actually, yeah, PR content. It was honest. We try to push clients, especially if you're an agency, especially if you're a business that requires normalization or education. If you're not clothing, if you're not t-shirt, if you're not something that everybody already knows about, we work with a sustainability business. Their product needs education and normalization. PR helps do that. So PR content, very good that way. UGC, image and video. Do you make UGC with your agency as well?
We can.
Yeah.
and video.
Yeah. Lookbook collection, color changing gifts perform well. I could name a few, but really the key is you want to have a strategy or a hypothesis behind what you're doing with the creative, and then be able to test it to see if it performs for your business or not, and go with it that way.
Yeah, I think it's so important what you're talking about, and you mentioned this a little bit earlier. Testing. If you have the wrong image and you think it's great, you might think it's great, but everybody else in the world might think it sucks, and you'll end up paying for it. One of the things that I've heard, and I've heard a few times, is you might have a high performing campaign that's working for you, but if you pour too much money into it too quickly, it could become a losing campaign very quickly. Is that correct?
Yeah, and I'll give you the reason, and for all your listeners, how you can understand it too. It's called creative fatigue or audience fatigue, right? So this is what you need to look out for. If you start scaling too fast, more than 20% every 3 to 4 days, you can burn out your audience or your creative really quickly. And what you're going to see is your frequency is going to go up, the average number of times somebody sees your ad. Your click-through rate is going to go down. Why? Because the same people are seeing it. They're not taking an action, so their click-through percentage goes down. Your cost per click is going to go up. Why? Because those people that aren't clicking are raising the cost for somebody to click, because it's an average that way. And then naturally, Facebook raises your cost per 1,000 impressions because it thinks you're showing poor ads to people because there's not enough performance with it. And then you create this paywall on Facebook where you can either refresh creative and fix things or pay more to get over it, right? So if you do scale too fastly, you'll burn out your creatives, you'll burn out your audience. And it can have longer term effects than just that specific campaign. So I would say definitely take it 20% at a time, take it slow, and look for the long-term kind of growth with paid ads.
Wow, I heard something correctly then. My God. One of the other things that something that we do, and then we're talking Facebook right now, is we have a page, we have a group. We believe in value, value, value. We'll direct traffic over to, and we'll have a like campaign where we'll start to build up similar minds into our group. And then once we have those similar minds, those people that liked the page or liked the post, invite them back. We build out a lookalike audience and try to build up. So all we're trying to do at this time is we have that brand story that you were talking about. We have that brand consistency. We have the PR. We have the content. We have the user-generated content, templates. So it's looking good. I think that's pretty important. I think building your audience and understanding your audience is key. And then driving them over to your e-com or over to your Amazon listing. I mean, there's probably a bunch of different strategies to do this, but if you don't have a Facebook page, or you don't have one single person liking your brand, I mean, that's going to be a problem. Do you agree that people should use that strategy? I mean, that's only my strategy, trying to build. My strategy might suck.
No, I agree with that. And not that your strategy sucks. I agree that it's good. So there's a couple of things with that too. I mean, think about, you see an ad from a company, and what happens if you click on their page instead of the actual ad to go see if they have credibility, and they have 1 to 2 likes on their page. Well, then you automatically start to doubt some things, because yeah, they had a nice ad, but they have no engagement on the organic side of things that way. Building out your audiences on Facebook, like you're saying, is very good. On your own page with that strategy, because then you can put out organic content. You can connect with your audience. Like you're saying, you can learn from them and talk to them. Other strategies you can do is run video view campaigns and retarget people that watch 50% or more. All of these strategies now after iOS 14.5 are so important, because with retargeting from pixel events, so things like add to carts and website visits, some accounts lost up to 70% of data tracking for retargeting just because of iOS 14.5 and just things that have been happening with cookies and stuff like that. So you can retarget 100% of people that are on the platform you're advertising on. So you have no loss of data if they stayed on Facebook with a video view or a page like campaign like you're doing.
Can you, okay, I want to make sure I understand this. So if somebody likes your page and you repost something, so they're going to have 100%, they're going to be able to view the engagement is going to stay. But if you're targeting somebody new, and we were going to get into this, the iOS thing. Can we go over that again? I just want to make sure that I'm clear on it.
Yeah, good question. So we'll look at it in 2 paths. One is people on Facebook, they're on your Facebook page, they're watching videos. The other one is they're on your website, right? With iOS 14.5, no loss of data happened on Facebook. So you can still retarget people 100% on Facebook because they did not leave the platform. You know what I'm saying? They're still there. Yeah. But on your website, because iOS 14.5, we lost hashed emails a lot of times. Cookies are starting to drop. Some accounts, like ad accounts, lost the ability to retarget their pixel events, which is the pixel is what tracks on your website, by up to 70%. So building out some audiences on Facebook with video view campaigns and stuff is super vital now, because it's lower cost, but it's also, you're not losing a lot of retargeting ability that way.
Okay. I mean, that's great to know. And you also mentioned that Google's another one. Now, I'm an old guy, way back, started to do Google advertising. It was great in the beginning. It sucked the hell out of me. Probably a few years back, stopped Google advertising because it costs so much. And now it seems that a lot of people are going back to Google ads and are just killing it. It's a lot less expensive than what it was. And you want to talk about that for a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, Google Ads is definitely something that a lot of brands should be doing. And I mean, you can even get so complex as to look at it as understanding what platforms or what level of the funnel for you, right? So a lot of times it may be that Facebook is your top of funnel to get new people into the system, and then Google is your retargeting that way. But one thing that I will call out, and it's something that's new, that's actually in the process of rolling out right now, is the new Google Max Performance, which essentially kind of puts things on autopilot, if you will, and makes things a lot easier for advertisers and for business owners that way. And it's claiming to provide 13% better return with no extra spend, or 13% extra sales with no extra spend. So I would say definitely take a look at that. But at the end of the day, if you're just getting started out, don't spread yourself too thin. Really kind of focus on finding one platform, maybe two, depending on your budget, and push it that way. If you can't be spending 5 to 10K a month on one platform, don't go for 2 or 3, because you'll need enough budget to succeed on at least one platform. So
That's what I was just going to say. What I've found is that, people will go and they'll work with these companies, and they'll undercapitalize their advertising, and they'll go out there thinking that they could spend $300 or $1,000, and really, to get true returns, you have to get to that $3,000 or $5,000 or $10,000 a month. And if they would do something like that, then they could see the results. The $1,000 you're throwing away, because you'll never be able to zero in or figure out, what you need to spend money on. So that is, I have seen so many really, just like SEO, you've got very few that are fantastic. You've got 10%, 15% that are pretty good, and all the rest are junk. And, they will just try to get your money. And I think you have to be very careful. I'm glad you brought up budget. So you can bring up, or you can start to bring it up, but at the end of the day, if you're not spending, if you're just giving away your money, it makes no sense. Either your agency's not doing it properly, you're not doing it properly, but it doesn't mean you have a bad product, or it means you have a bad product and you've got to go back and fix it. Like, why are people not spending their money? And that's something that I think that, especially for Amazon, you got to go back and you got to make sure that you do the bridge listings against your competitors. Are your images, or are your primary images, able to beat your competitor or equal to? And then you can read your titles. Is it engaging? Same with social media. Nobody wants a boring, crappy, image or video, or even the caption, in the display. If it's crappy, nobody's going to click on it, and you got to spend. And my personal, thought is, if you don't spend good money for good people, like, I'm not doing this myself. I don't know Facebook enough or Google enough to say, hey, I'm going to take a crack at this. I will just, that's what it's going to be for me. I'm just throwing away my money. So one of these things, and I just wanted to bring this out, is that if you are really thinking about going forward and spending money, good money and bad money, finding a good agency is worth every penny. And a good agency will tell you what kind of budget to look for too.
Yeah, I think, what's the phrase? If you pay cheap, you pay twice. Something like that. I mean, I definitely think making sure your agency can give you an outline of what you need to be spending. One thing that we have is we turn an Excel spreadsheet into an e-commerce calculator to break down each level. So ad level cost, website performance, business metrics like cost of goods sold and things like that. And in the audit phase, or we'll call it the sales process for a client, we run them through that. And I mean, we want to understand, can they be successful? Because you want to make sure you can bring results for clients, but it can be stressful working in situations that can't succeed because there's no positive outcome for it. We just keep spinning wheels in the wrong direction. So yeah, definitely making sure you can see the honesty in the people you're talking to and make sure you're going in the right direction is something to look out for.
So when you're putting together that report, so you're creating an audit, what are some questions people should be looking for, or what should they be looking for on the audit report?
Yeah, for sure. So this is going to be contingent on that they have run paid ads before.
Mhm.
So the calculator is one separate thing. We're going to get their business numbers and understand just logistically, is it possible to be profitable, or do you need to focus on your website conversion rate, your bounce rate, your margins? Hopefully it's not the margins, because that one's the hardest one to fix, right? Well, hopefully it's something with your marketing stack. And then with the actual audit, we're going to look at your year-to-date data, your lifetime data, and your account. We want to make sure all your technicals are okay. The purpose of the audit is to be educational. We're education first. We want you to be able to walk away from the audit and do it on your own if you have the bandwidth to do it, honestly. So we make sure all your technicals are set up properly. And then we go in and look at your campaign structures and make sure whoever is running your ads is structuring things correctly in Facebook, or to the best of their ability. We look at your audience breakdowns and make sure you're using the proper audiences. We look at your creative and copy, so your messaging, and really make sure you're on the mark there. And then once we've run through all that, and each of those has quite a few questions that we answer off for that, we create like a next steps, which is things they could do in the next 5 to 7 days with or without us. And then like a 30-day plan, a 90-day plan, and what we call like performance projections. It's never a guarantee. So we don't work off we're going to get you $10 million next month type thing and sell it that way. But we go based off the data of the calculator and look at what we believe the projections could be based on where your business is for that. So that's generally what the audit does. And the whole purpose, like I said, educate people enough so they understand what's going on in their account and their business, so they can make a good decision on who to work with and what to do for their business.
Yeah, I like the part about give to get. I mean, okay, this is what I'm doing. Here's 5 or 10 things that you can do. Guess what? It's free. And if you choose to go with us, great. If you don't, que sera, sera. But anyways, it's nice that you're doing that. A lot of people don't give anything. They keep everything under their sleeve. So, I mean, if an agency is doing something like you're describing, I mean, it's awesome to have. And also make sure you check around too. You just don't want to go to one person and just get their thoughts. And it depends what they specialize in, because you might be specializing in Google and Facebook, but you want somebody that specializes in LinkedIn and Pinterest. So I think that's a good question to ask. But let's back off a few questions for a second. I think it's time for the Wheel of Kelsey. We've been trying to do something different over the last couple of weeks, and that's adding a mystery word. So today we've got hashtag Wheel of Kelsey, and the mystery word is paid, PAID. So add those two, and you'll be entered into the Wheel of Kelsey. In a century, tag us, and you'll get a second entry. Now, Colby, why don't you tell us a little bit about the giveaway today?
Yeah, so the giveaway is actually what we were just talking about. So hopefully somebody out there listening wins that and is in need of that e-commerce calculator, that paid audit. And we'd be glad to give that to you for free. What that looks like, we get on a quick call, really just kind of learn more about you, your business, what you've done and what you're looking to achieve. So that way we can audit correctly. And then we get the accesses that we need into your account and the data we need for your business. And we run that audit on our own. And then normally within 2 to 4 days, we get on a follow-up call and just educate you the best we can. I loom record it because I just throw a lot of information at you, and it can be quite a bit. So we loom record it, you have that. And then ideally you leave that call knowing what needs to be done, either to do paid ads or to do other things so that you in the future can run paid ads. Because the answer is not always that you should run ads at that time.
All right. So hashtag Wheel of Kelsey, the mystery word of the day, paid. Tag 2 people if you want, and you'll get a second entry. Now, Kelsey, if you're prepared, hit that button for a word from our sponsor. The Legion is your go-to community where you can learn, grow, and build your Amazon and e-commerce business. As you know, being an entrepreneur can be lonely. Now you can share struggles, build a network, and celebrate your successes. And guess what? Our community is free. All you have to do is head over to our Facebook group to join. You can also watch us on our YouTube channel at Private Label Legion so you can stay up to date with tips, strategies, and advice from other experts in the industry. Okay, remember one thing: to get all this great information, follow us, subscribe, and ring that bell so you can get automatic notifications. Okay, we're back. One of the questions I was thinking about split testing. Are there some tips that you can give us about when and how to split test your ads?
Yeah, that's a great question. So one thing that I would tell you is that if you're already running ads, don't, let's say you're running a campaign and you want to split test out some certain ads. Don't do it in the campaign that is currently running or that is currently working. It's good to create a secondary or a third campaign that is specifically for that testing. Yeah, we always want to look at split testing. We want to understand first what we're looking to achieve, what kind of things we can create to test out to try and get there, and then put them into a campaign. Now, one thing I will tell you also is that you want to be strategic on how you split test on social media. So for Facebook ads, if you're split testing audiences and you have one campaign and you're doing CBO, we're going to get very technical here, Norm, but if you're doing CBO, audience size matters because the campaign is distributing budget to those ad sets how it wants to. If you have one ad set with 20 million people and one with 200,000 people, the one with 200,000 people is going to get pretty much no spend. It's not going to get equal spend, and you can't truly tell if it's working. Same thing on the ad level. Sometimes you'll notice if you put videos, carousels, and images in the same the same ad set to test, spend won't be even because the algorithm prefers one format over the other. So if you see those things, be conscientious of it and definitely spread that out. But yes, split testing, you definitely want to do that. And the most important thing is make sure you can track it and measure the performance so you can do something with that information. Don't just say, hey, I'm going to test this, do it, and then not record it or have record of it because you'll need that for the future.
I guess one of the top KPIs too is understanding your audience. And how do you figure that out? How do you know you're targeting the right audience?
That's a good question. So there's a couple of ways. One, we often talk to the business owner to see if they have any information on that, and we take that information in. And then two is using your Google Analytics and really looking at your demographics and your geographics from Google Analytics and understanding who you need to be targeting interest-wise, behavior-wise that way. And then, the great thing with Facebook ads right now is that in 2015, it was all about audience, audience, audience. We need to 2 million people, 1% lookalike, add to cart, this and that. It's moved towards broad audiences. I'm talking CBO wide open to where it's no targetings other than age and gender. So wide open audiences that way. And then what you're doing to help with that is making sure that you have really good schema markup on your website, because the schema markup acts as SEO. And when you launch an ad, some of the first traffic, not a lot, but some of the first traffic is the bots from Facebook crawling your website to understand who you are, what you sell, and who you're trying to reach. And if you have proper schema markup, which we'll just say is like the English language for those bots, it takes that back to Facebook. And with all of its years of data that way, it finds the right people within your audience. So when you have an audience of 20 million people, you're telling Facebook, I want to target 20 million people, but the Facebook algorithm is selecting 100,000 people here and 20,000 people here and 200,000 people here and finding those little pockets of people. So that's the one thing I would definitely say takeaway wise to look at with audiences at this time is really focus on going broad and having good schema markup on your website and relevant ad copy to treat it like it's on page SEO for both of those.
Have you ever heard of Spark Toro?
I have not.
Okay, Moz. Rand Fiskin is the started the Moz. He started this Spark Toro. I think it's just sparktoro.com, and check it out. It digs deep into your competitors, into their influencers, into their audience, and gives you a lot of information. And it's about an 8-minute training video, and after that, you're an expert. It's really cool.
I'll just look this up now. I'll have to check this out. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. And I guess moving from audience, the next question is about, creating that engaging content. Any tips on that?
Test, and iterate. Yeah. I mean, so, the best way to look at it is people don't want to be marketed to, or they don't want to be sold, right? So how can you create content that is as native as possible? Sometimes there can be the misconception that it has to be super prim and proper and edited down, and we have to, I accidentally missaid something right here, I need to redo that, and I have to be robotic with this. The more organic, the more uncut, the more unfiltered it is, a lot of times with videos especially, the better it performs. We're seeing that, and I'm just going to call it the TikTok style content, is majorly outperforming most other types of videos. So things that just look like they're naturally in the feed are performing very well. So I would say focus on keeping it as native to the platform as possible. And really just focus on putting out a good quantity of creative to test. If you put out 20 ads and you're testing those, there's a big problem if 2 to 3 of those don't perform. And then when they do perform, you can find those and then start to iterate things from there.
Now there's a way that you can see what your competitors are doing, and you can kind of match that, right? Like in your Facebook library.
100%. Yeah. The easiest, and that's a great way to do that. That's a good call out, Norm, is go to your competitor's Facebook page. On the little left-hand column, you see all the things about their business, their shop. Scroll down to the bottom to the page transparency box. Click on that, see more, and then click on see Facebook ad library. And you can see all of the creatives that they're running. And what I would say to do is look at it from a structure standpoint. Are they running creatives where it's a lifestyle photography shot with a flat lay product laying over top of it? Are they running photos where it's, or a video where somebody's wearing a product and the color of the product changes? What are they doing structure-wise? And recreate that, right? If it's working for them, test it out. And if you see that 4 of your competitors are doing the same thing, recreate that.
Right. Yep. Yeah. That's an interesting way of just kind of keeping an eye on your competitors.
100%. Yeah, 100%.
Okay. So this last thing, I'm going to leave it up to you. Do you have some action steps that people should take if they walk away from this podcast today? Do you have, 3, 4, 5 action steps that they can take to get going?
Yeah, definitely. Action steps to get going with social media if you're just getting started. So I would say make sure you find the ability to put out creative for your brand. If you can't successfully put out creative every month for your brand, you or your agency will not succeed with that. Second thing I would say do is make sure you have the budget. Ideally, you could be starting in the $5 to $10K range, and understand what your goals are. Are you looking to sell a certain product collection, a certain product? Are you looking for a certain return on ad spend or a certain CPA that way? And then really look at finding people who excel at paid ads, or an agency that excels at paid ads. There's a lot of things that you could do to teach yourself, but if you're a business owner, you focus on the business. Let an agency or let somebody who is a freelancer in paid ads take that over for you.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much. Colby, how do people get a hold of you?
Yeah, a couple of ways actually. So LinkedIn, you can look me up, Colby Flood. You can email me directly, colby@brighterclick.com, or just go to BrighterClick's website. You'll see my little face on our calendar and you can schedule a call with me.
Great. Where's Squire?
This nickname, it's come back. But yes, thank you so much, Colby. Really do appreciate it. It was a great episode. And it's time for the Wheel of Kelsey. So usually in our live episodes, we will do the Wheel of Kelsey live, but this time we're streaming live. So we're just going to do a fancy edit. And right now, we'll spin the wheel and we'll have the winner. All right. So hello, everyone. Welcome. I'm here live. A little bright here. Just a second. So I'm going to be doing the Wheel of Kelsey now. So yeah, enjoy. Here is the Wheel of Kelsey, and we'll announce the winner shortly.
It's time for the Wheel of Kelsey.
All right. So, like we said before, we're doing things a little differently with our Wheel of Kelsey's. We are doing the mystery word along with the Wheel of Kelsey. So, if you don't see your name, it's because you didn't have both hashtags in it. I'm going to just quickly check the comments. And I see there's one more from Claudia. All right. So, thank you again, everyone, for entering. On Friday, internet connections across Canada went down with our main internet provider, so that's why we're missing. So again, thank you, everyone. We're back. We're going to be doing a few pre-recorded episodes for the next 3 episodes. So I think Wednesday will be our live episode next Wednesday. So yeah, thank you, Christine. I definitely wore it because of that reason. For sure. And yes, good to see everyone. Simon, Claudia, Rad, Chuck, Nick, Stuff, Cool Hand 99, Redbeard, Toyota. It's great seeing you guys. And let me just spin this wheel and see who the winner is. All right, so make sure you email me, kate@lunchwithnorm.com for this. And it looks like Jason C is the winner. Congratulations. We'll connect you with Colby, and with all the questions that are happening, we want to still make this interactive as possible. So you can still ask your questions, put your comments in. I'm going to be taking the questions and posting them in the Facebook group. Colby is a part of the group, and yeah, he's going to be entering, or he's going to be replying to you guys. And yeah, we'll get back to the rest of the episode. I think there's just a few more minutes left. And we'll see everyone on Wednesday for another pre-recorded episode. And I'll be here in the comment sections as usual, popping in to say hello. And yeah, we'll get back to it.
Cool.
So congratulations to the person who won today. If you are the winner in the future, please email me, k@lunchwithnorm.com, and we'll connect you with Kobe.
I really can't believe they won. Congratulations. So you know what? This is a really great prize today, a really great giveaway, and I really thank Colby for it. Everybody needs to get into not only social but paid ads. I like to call it blitz marketing, and you got to come at it at all areas. If not, you're leaving money on the table. So Colby, once again, thank you for coming on today. And just really appreciate it. And we're going to have you back on.
I appreciate you having me, and I look forward to that.
Fantastic. Okay. So thank you for Kelsey. What did you do? Oh my God. Can't trust this guy. What did you do? I was going to say thank you for joining us today.
It was just a tad early on that one, but that's Lunch with Norm with you.
You got trigger
that's what
finger.
we're all about.
Okay. So now I'm going to say, hey, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed today's presentation. Make sure you put this into action if you don't already have paid ads. What are you doing now?
Smashing those like buttons.
I'm not talking about like buttons. I'm talking about paid ads. Anyways, get that going. And now what are you going to say? This is all up to you now.
Smash those like buttons. Subscribe to us on YouTube. That's where a lot of the beardos watch the episode. And of course, if you want to be part of our community, part of the Beard Nation, you can go over to Facebook and join our Facebook group, Lunch with Norm, Amazon FBA, and eCommerce Collective. And yeah, if you have any questions at all about the podcast when we go live, you can always email me, k@lunchwithnorm.com. I'm always happy to connect with you guys. And yeah, if you have any questions, let us know. Any topics, any guests that you've seen on other podcasts, I'm always happy to try and reach out and see what I can do.
Okay, so join us every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at noon Eastern Standard Time. Thank you so much for being part of a community. We could not do this without you. We appreciate everything. We appreciate you joining us every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Thank you so much and enjoy the rest of your day.
Entrepreneur.